we that Yahweh, he is God. He hath made us and not we ourselves. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful to him. Bless his name, for Yahweh is good. His mercy eternal, his truth to all generations.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to Line by Line Bible Studies. And continuing in Psalm 31, which for some reason is taking all week. But it's all right. He's meditating on the enemies coming after him and God's mercy. And his iniquity. All these things coming together. My iniquity, my enemies, your mercy. But I trusted in you. Don't let me be ashamed. Blessed be the Lord, for he hath showed me his marvellous kindness in a strong city. For I said in my haste, I am cut off from before thy eyes. Nevertheless, thou heardest the voice of my supplications when I cried unto thee. There you go. I said in my haste, my God, why have you forsaken me? I said in my haste, I am cut off from before your eyes. I said in my haste, you don't hear me. I said in my haste. Because in our haste we do not see the marvelous kindness of God or God's plan. I don't know, it's an interesting thing. I'm not going to go into that particularly. I'm just going to say it's like, I was thinking, well, whatever. Maybe it'll come up as we go through the study. I feel like I don't want to take a significant detour into the present day in particular. I mean, not as interesting as it might sound. Okay. He hath shown me his marvelous kindness in a strong city. What does that mean? Why in a strong city? Is it just, it happened to be in the city he showed me. I wonder if that almost makes me think like, okay, what do some other translations say with that verse? I just want to see what it says. Let's see, verse, I didn't switch it over, sorry. It's always so complicated. There we go. And in a strong city, let's check we haven't gone to the Devil's translation in a while. Let's go to the NIV. And obviously I don't believe it's the Devil's translation, but I like to joke about it. Okay, I get it. NIV says, praise be the Lord, for he showed me the wonders of his love when I was in a city under siege. Obviously, the under siege is probably added. It's not part of the text. But that's when you get a thought for thought translation. See, they start thinking the thoughts of the people who wrote the Bible, even when they didn't write them down. It is useful, though, a useful thing to consult with because it is an interpretation. Some of these modern translations are actually interpretations, and one of the reasons I like to stick with the King James is because it's less so. Every translation is also going to be a kind of an interpretation, because very often a direct translation will not suffice. Some things just don't translate well from one language to another. But let's just see another translation, just a different one. What do they got? They say a besieged city. Maybe the word besieged is the word strength. Or, a strong city. Maybe the word strong is where they're getting the idea of besiegement. Let's look at strong. I'm just curious. I don't consider this kind of word study to be essential to understanding. Siege, it's matzur, and it means siege enclosure. siege, entrenchment. So it's not an interpretation. It is actually besieged. So that makes a lot of sense, though. Okay. So the King James translators just didn't have the full understanding of the word. And here's some examples in Deuteronomy. They called it bulwarks. King James has translated this word siege. See over here on the right, you can see all the instances where it's been translated. There's an Englishman's concordance on the side. That means it translates, it identifies all the places where this Hebrew word is used in the Old Testament, and it gives you each one in particular here. And they also include the New American Standard, the King James, the International, whatever. Which one is that? What is that? Biblos Interlinear Bible. Oh. We have, of course, the Hebrew, which is, never learned to really efficiently read that. It's like MTS, oh, I can't see it. It was like MTS, I think, VR or D or something. Yeah, so it's difficult. All right, let's go back to the main thing there, and we'll go over here to this. Okay, so in a dire circumstances, under siege, when I'm under siege in a city, God has showed me his marvelous kindness. And that's when you're besieged, surrounded on all sides, enemies all around me. It's easy to think God has abandoned me. Well, they've got me. I'm surrounded. Well, as it says in Isaiah, as birds flying will the Lord of hosts defend Jerusalem. He doesn't need to come through the siege lines. And the help from God can come from anywhere. But it's easy when you're in the midst of really troubling circumstances to say, God has forgotten me, God has abandoned me. It's tempting. I mean, some people are of very great faith, and no matter what circumstances come along, they're always like, the Lord is in control. I'd like to have that much faith. I would. And I try to, I pray, Lord, give me faith. I always pray for more faith because I'm not particularly gifted in faith. I'm easily, if I get, if too hard of a circumstance, not that I stop trusting the Lord. I usually don't turn on God. I don't say stuff like that. But I usually turn on myself, like I brought this on me and I'm responsible, and I'll be really hard on myself. Then again, the most recent example I can think of was after that, I then discovered, no, I didn't bring it on myself. They're trying to hurt me, which actually, for me, was a bit of a relief. Because when enemies come against me, then I actually do trust the Lord. I'm not saying I actually don't in normal, but what I'm saying is I become much more susceptible to feeling down about things if I feel like I am the architect of my own destruction. But I feel like if enemies without are coming after me, I feel like, well, because I know the Lord, I am a little bit worried on my own behalf, and maybe this is wrong, and you can decide. I'm always a little worried on my own behalf that, as Jesus said to the serpent, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God. Then on some level, I bear responsibility to take care of myself and to, do things. And it's not like God just brings everything to me on a silver platter. Not like I can just throw myself off the temple and expect angels to come down and lift me out of the, out of my silliness. I don't have that luxury. I have to look after my safety to some degree. I mean, I shouldn't become obsessed with it, and but to the degree that it is reasonable. I look after my health to the degree that is reasonable, that I be not irresponsible with the charge God has given me with this body. I need to keep it up. What if I have to live to be 90? I don't want to be 90 in a wheelchair or in a bed. I mean, I've seen people who got old and they ended up in a bed for years. You know? So also with like other problems, it's like I'm always wary of me doing myself in. Because I always feel like God will never let ultimate harm come to me. But he will allow me, and has allowed me at times, to harm myself marginally. I mean, through many avenues, sometimes through sin, through bad decisions, you know. I know in the end all things are working out for good for me. I know that intellectually. But at the moment when I make a mistake, I feel very personally responsible for that mistake. And also, I hate having done it. Like, I'm always trying to be blessed. And I struggle to exist sometimes in the world because it is a struggle. And when I bring about my own demise, that to me is a very difficult thing to swallow, by my own hands. And I still don't know how to handle that thought. But I also discovered that it's not that bad things happening to me automatically makes me feel despair. I've seen that when I think an enemy's coming against me, it almost excites me because I think, the enemy has risen against me, O Lord. Help thine anointed, O Lord. They speak evil, they want to destroy me, O Lord. Then, because it's like, I can't do anything about them, only God. I mean, I can do what I can do. Or in that case, also, I know I can fight them. As David did, he fought his enemies. I could fight mine. And I don't mind. But how do I fight against myself? When I'm my own undoing, what a frustrating thing. So, in all this, a lesson I'm going to take is like, an important part of the lesson is, let us not be hasty in judging anything, whether we have done it to ourselves or it's being done from outside. We need to always trust in the Lord. Do not hastily say, I'm cut off. I'm destroyed. The enemies have me. Because God hears the voice of our supplication. Though all the world will ignore your pleas, God hears them. O love the Lord, all ye his saints, for the Lord preserveth the faithful, and plentifully rewardeth the proud doer. It's an interesting, I gotta look that up because I'm not sure. It sounds positive, right? Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. That sounds all positive, so I'm curious what this proud doer is. That's a phrase I'm not particularly familiar with, right? That's an unusual construction of an idea in the Bible. The proud, majesty, pride, doer is accomplish. And I don't know that looking at the root words in Hebrew is going to give us any sort of insight on this, because I thought the translation is probably correct. In pride, it can be a lot. Let's see. Where's the arrogance or majesty by implication, concretely ornament. Yeah, I got it. This is a standard. It can be excellency or haughtiness. It's like depends on the context. Majesty, I want to say, or mayhem, but it's not mayhem. It's majesty or pride. Like here you look on the side, it says, unto God. His excellency is over Israel. Shake with the swelling thereof. Swelling pride. And so you can see there's different usages of this. Generally proud, but also excellency. Here we go. Who is the sword of thy excellency and thine enemies? So, is either talking about something majestic or something prideful. I mean, so I guess my impulse would be to translate this like, I'll go look at the other translations for a second. But to call it those who do excellently. Instead of the proud doer, he rewards those that do excellence. And that's, and like I said, I've often tried to explain that there is an aspect of pride of the same basic idea that is not sinful. And excellence is a great way to put it. Because, when I do a job, I try to do a real good job. And when I was in school, teachers in Sesame Street said, take pride in your work. Take pride in what you do. And I always had trouble with that because my dad had always said pride was a sin. And it is. But there's an aspect of the word that is not the same thing. It's actually a different thing. It's not pride, which is thinking you are really something because of whatever reason. You are lifted up in yourself. You yourself are lifted. Whereas it is a proud doer, which is someone who lifts up their actions to do well. Someone who raises the stakes, so to speak. They raise the bar. They make it. They do things more excellently. They try to take it to the next level, as as the expression goes. There's a pride of craftsmanship that isn't like I'm a great craftsman, but that causes one to do a great craft because one regards it as important to do well. That's the concept of excellency, like the importance of doing things well, of doing things above and beyond the call of duty, that are better, to strive for that which is better, to strive for that which is excellent, and to realize that it matters. When they told me to take pride in my work, they were saying your work matters, therefore try to do the best job you can. Don't just be slapping it together. Pride in your work means you put hard effort into stuff, or not necessarily hard, but you put smart effort. If you put in effort the best you can to bring about a higher end result, something that is more excellent, something that is more exalted in its in the results you're achieving. And that's the idea here of pride. It's not a I'm not going to go to the other translations. I don't care what they say. It's going to be something like that. I mean, maybe they're going to say the evildoer. I mean, God does reward. Here's the thing. Even if you get it wrong, you can still be right. God rewards the evildoers. Well, it's true both ways. God rewards those who work hard and diligently seek after excellency. And God also rewards those who are lifted up in themselves and think they're really something when they're just like everybody else. When all that they have has been received by God, either in the form of their gifts, their inheritance, their privileges, whatever. They are heirs of things, but they feel themselves great because of that which they possess. Whereas opposed to doing something great, that thing may be great because in a sense I'm honoring God by doing with what he has given me the utmost I can. There was a famous devotional series called My Utmost for His Highest, I think. And I always thought that was a good title. The most I could do for the one who is the greatest. So how, if I do a work, like I work in my Revelation, it's been taking forever, but it's because I have a sense that's I want it to be the best thing I've ever done. or at least to be really good. You know, I want it to be the best I can do because it is for the Lord. And in the scriptures it says that we should do all things as unto the Lord, not as men pleasers, not with eye service. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all ye that hope in the Lord. Be of good courage. God will give you strength. You know, this is very appropriate to me. Like I had a rough week. I managed to do every Bible study this week, and it was rough. You know, I wasted a lot of time trying to fix something that I guess couldn't be fixed. But I did accomplish in the end that I discovered the real reasons for all my troubles for all my trouble in this one thing, actually, not troubles. All my troubles, the reasons, all my troubles. Says this is the path the Lord has set before me. You know, sometimes I think like, oh, you know, I just like to get beyond this and then let it be easy. But instead, my brain will interject, you know, when I get past this, it's not going to be like, oh, well, good job, Paul. Now take your ease. Now just let the prosperity rain down without any struggling. Just let it all pour down upon you. Be rich like them. You know? Everything gets easy now. It'll all come together. Might. But more likely, they'll just be the next even tougher challenge. You know, it's probably just He gives me challenges that take me to the edge of my ability to bear them. And then I bear them. And then it seems like the next thing that happens is even more powerfully designed to like crush me. You know what I mean? But the thing is, I'm familiar with this because like I said, from my youth, I studied the arts of physical development. You know, in college, I took I wasn't like a major or anything, but I took courses in physical fitness and weight training and that kind of stuff. So I do have some understanding. This is a little while ago, and it was very beginnery stuff, college level beginnery. I understand significant things about that, and I know this, that if you want to get stronger, you have to progressively overload. You know, you have to progressively overload, meaning you have to progressively you got to put things on. You have to overload you have to overload your muscle in a progressive fashion. You overload it, you know, and then you let it recover a bit, and then you overload it again with an even heavier weight. And that's an oversimplification, but that's a general idea. It's a systematic thing when you go about giving yourself more and more weight. And that's how you get stronger. There's a lot of ups and downs in the midst of that. I'm not trying to, don't allow this to substitute for some sort of clear instruction on a, exercise plan for you. This is not meant as any sort of fitness or health advice. What I'm saying is it's just an analogy for my religious advice, which is that, I don't want to have this somewhere over the rainbow attitude. I don't, because it's like, it's itself an enemy to me. I mean, to think like that, to be looking for like all my earthly problems to be solved, that I could just blissfully coast. I really want to just coast, I just want to earn money, enjoy my family, have dinner, go to bed, get up and do my Bible study, and just have all the bills paid without any hustling, for, figuring, but, that's not always what's in store. If I'm a servant of God, it's reasonable to expect God to continually challenge me to make me into a useful servant. And I know in a lot of ways I did this to myself, because this is the kind of thing I asked for in the beginning. You want to serve God. Do you have any idea what that means? You sure you wouldn't rather be just a regular Christian? Not that anyone told me. No one said, hey, you sure? Be careful what you ask for, because you don't always understand the cost. It's like the man who set out to build a tower. He didn't count the cost, so he wasn't able to finish it. I don't want to, in the midst of my walk with God, suddenly decide I can't finish this. God knows in my haste, I've said, I can't go on. In my haste, I've said, I can't go on. I don't think of God as cutting me off. I just think like I'm cut off from my own will to continue. But even in those most dire moments, the Lord will eventually speak to me if I stop listening to myself. If I stop listening to my own stupid voice, which it may even be the voice of Satan for all I know, because it's very accusatory. When I listen for the voice of God, the truth comes to me. That I should not hate myself whom God has loved, and I should not blame myself for things which I can't control. It's like I don't blame myself for other things I can't control. Why should I blame myself for something that, just because I had a hand in an uncontrollable thing? I mean, you can always look back and get, oh, if only. If only I had done this, then I could have stopped it all from happening. But that wasn't destiny. Destiny led me on another path. And, and above all else, I want to demonstrate to the Lord that I learn. I think that by learning and by trusting God more readily and praying more readily, we can lessen our own suffering, or our suffering is lessened by the comfort of the Spirit of God. Because you talk to God in the midst of your troubles, and if you talk to Him properly and listen properly, as opposed to maybe it's not talk, but so much as just like let the Word speak to you. What would God say about this? If you know His Word, He should speak. A lot of times I have questions, and like it used to be God never answered my questions, and now I feel like in the Spirit He does. Not like just now, but I mean like in this phase of life I've been in for a while. I feel like He does. So love the Lord, all His saints. He preserves the faithful. He plentifully rewards those who seek excellency. There's none of those who seek excellency. There was a. I know. That's. I'm going to see if I can get that phrase here. I'm not going to take you there if I can't find it. So hold on. Let's see. Seek. Oh, I think it's seek glory. Those who seek either glory or excellency. Maybe it's glory. Then it would be less of what I was thinking. The phrase "seek glory" does not occur in the New Testament. Well, it's probably "seek for glory" or something. Okay. This is the verse I was thinking. Romans 2:7. Here, I'll bring it up. All right, here we go. And there we are. Romans 2:7 says, maybe I'll back it up just a smidgen. Oh, yeah, He will render to every man according to his deeds. Right? The righteous judgment of God. Like I said, God rewards the wicked. He rewards the prideful in heart, but He also rewards those who do excellently. And it isn't about their personal pride, but about, well, sort of the pride of like, I work for God, or I'm doing, or this work is important. Like it's not about personal inflation, but about rather creating something that itself lifts up or is lifted up. To them who by patient continuance in well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. Those what God renders to us. Those who by patient continuance in well-doing, excellent doing, we seek for glory and honor and immortality. Now that's kind of like seeking, glory seeking. We usually think of that as, I don't know, kind of in bad taste. A glory hound? Anyone like glory hounds? Sorry. I want a phlegm. I should just, hold on. All right, well, at least you only had to watch it. I forgot I should also do this, there you go. I can mute it, and that's how you should do it, Paul. That's the classy way to do it. You barbarian. Oh, I am a barbarian. I'm the child of pagans, barbarians, murderers, and thieves. Oh Lord, all you saints for the he preserveth. Okay, rewarded by doer. What was we talked about those. Romans 2:7. Seeking for glory. Seeking for glory is generally considered bad, but what you're doing is you're seeking for the glory that it's vain glory that men give that's passing away, right? The reason it's vain is because it's usually undeserved. I mean, they're looking for glory, or it's inappropriate, or it's just the glory of men. I wish this phlegm would go away. It's like it leaves me this feeling of choking. So, when we seek for glory, we're talking about seeking the glory of God, a genuine glory. We've talked, what is glory? Well, it's the perception of greatness. I want all the glory for discovering this vaccine. I want everyone to know I did it. That's the glory. Oh, you mean Paul Strangini? Blah, 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 blah. Wow, his name is now synonymous with saving lives. There is a glory, and people seek to gain it. The admiration of men. Pride is often about the admiration of men. But the pride of doing a good job and the excellency of seeking the glory which God has from the foundation of the world, meaning a greatness that is truly great and grounded in goodness, as opposed to grounded in human whatever. Even the thing I said was a good thing, right? I discovered a vaccine. Glory will come to someone who discovers some miracle cure. I'm just saying vaccine. I know a lot of people hate vaccines, whatever. I was vaccinated as a child. My children were vaccinated. They didn't develop any mental problems. I know some people, I know that not everyone reacts well to them. One of my children couldn't take certain vaccines because of allergies. And so they said, don't take them. I didn't think that was so great. I'm like, I would recommend you not travel abroad into countries where they don't widely vaccinate. Because now you're in here you have safety. But like if you never developed chickenpox as a child, then it can be dangerous to an adult. But because they're vaccinating everyone with chickenpox, well, now most people don't have it, so you don't catch it. But then you can go to a foreign country where they don't necessarily vaccinate so widely and pick it up as an adult. I'm not sure if we should be vaccinating for things that aren't really that harmful. I don't know. The smallpox vaccine makes a lot of sense to me. It kills 1 in 3 people that get it. Extremely deadly, contagious disease. And it seems reasonable. Scarlet fever, whooping cough. You fancy getting those things? Measles, mumps, rubella. I know some people don't like it, but it's like, I don't know. I don't think it did anything but strengthen me. So I don't know. I'm not going to make commentary on those kind of things. I'm not a big, science commentator on the actual science of things. Though I'm not an anti-science person, as anyone who studies me well knows. Well, science is a tool and it has its place. It has its place. It's got to know its place. Sometimes scientists think they're philosophers, and that's where they get screwed up. Or scientists think they think that they are science. Like, they're not just scientists speaking their opinions. They're scientists making statements on the behalf of capital S, science. Their God. It's a poor God. A mechanism. Anyways, be of good courage, and he shall strengthen your heart, all you that hope in the Lord. You know, we should take that advice. We should be of good courage and allow God to strengthen our hearts. Because we should put our hope in him. Because in him, we have hope. In the world, there is no hope. In the world, you can hope for one thing. Descendants. That's it. You will die. You know, when I did the thing in the bloodstained Bible, like, nobody remembers that guy except me. You know, and the people, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like he died. He was fighting. His mother cared. She knew him. She died. His sister cared. She knew him. She died. Other people heard less and less and less. At some point, it becomes meaningless to people. What's this old Bible? They don't understand this. Some guy carried this to his death. Some young man. Never had a family. Never got to experience the joys of marriage and such. You know? But through a descendant in the world, your descendant might remember your death and might tell people about it and write a song about it. Hey, you know, and now it's sort of immortalized. But that's all you can hope for in the world. God could make you actually immortal, which is much better. You know what I mean? Think about how many people lived in George Washington's day, right? How many people do we remember? Just the big shots. Mostly just the big shots. There's a few little people that get remembered. But I mean, of the hundreds of historic figures that you could mention by name if you were to be an expert on history, you know, it's like, well, you know, I got all these, there was all these little people, and their names were written down, and they were part of it. Well, most of them are forgotten. What is their hope? They saved up money. They built their houses. They lived their lives. They died. They bestowed it to their descendants. They did what they did with it. You know, they lived their life. You know, people are just trying to, but there is no hope. Well, all you can hope is that, you know, like, if there is no God, all you can hope is that, well, maybe people will remember me in a generation. Chances are they won't. You know? It's always so sad. I think about, like, my father talks about his father, what a great guy he was and how much he loved him, and I'll never know him. I knew him when I was 3, but then he died. I have no memories of him particularly. I mean, I remember being in the car with him once. That's it. That's it. I was really close to that man. As close as a 2-year-old can get, you know. But, you know, I'll never know him the way my father did. And when my father dies, no one will know him the way my father did. You know, no one will know him the way his wife did. No one will know him. No one will know him. His memory will be forgotten for the most part. And the only hope there is in God, that he might raise us from the dead. So let us hope in the Lord, because hoping in the Lord you can be of good courage, because God is powerful, strong, and he is ready to help if necessary. You know, a lot of the help I want is just like, I just want things to be easier. It's not like I actually need the help. Do I actually need the help? No, Paul, you can do it. Go, you can do it. Thanks. I guess I asked for it. You know? I laugh because I think about, like, there are so many things I do to hurt myself. Big and small. But I put my hope in the Lord, not in my own competence. He's leaving me to my own devices sometimes. You know? Well, there's some things I should be able to handle. You know? Like the old man who said, you know, like there was I always heard a story. It's probably, I don't know if it's true. It doesn't matter. It's a true story in that it's a good story. Good stories are true. I mean, they're true in the sense there's a truthfulness to it. Some of you might not like it, but there's this old trope about the guy standing on the soapbox and saying, if God is real, let him knock me off this box. And then, of course, an old guy walks up to him and punches him in the face, knocks him out. And he says, never ask God to do something that you can do for yourself. And it's a little extreme, but the idea is, there's a level on which I tempt God by expecting him to do things that I, by all rights, should be responsible for myself. It'd be like this, I don't brush my teeth. I mean, I do, but let's say I stop brushing my teeth and say, God will take care of my teeth. I have faith. My teeth will go rotten. If I eat the wrong foods, I mean, I don't eat sugary foods myself, so, my teeth aren't rotten. I have a few broken teeth, though, because when I was younger, I did. And the fillings got bad, and so I have broken teeth in the back and stuff. Not good, but I don't have, ongoing rot or anything. But if I don't take care of my teeth, I'm going to get rot. If I don't wash my body, I'm going to start smelling and be dirty. I'm not going to, deodorize my filth by faith. And that's not mocking faith. By saying, because I said, what am I going to do? Brush my teeth by faith? Don't you trust the Lord for your teeth? Don't you trust him for your teeth, for your toenails? And why, God, you don't need to clip your toenails. You can just have faith and God will keep them short. It's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous. Well, why should God intervene in every trouble in my life that he knows I can full well take care of? Why take care? I gave you the gifts to take care of it. If God has already given me the gifts necessary to do it, why do I need God's help in stuff that I don't have the gifts. That's why I need help. Where I don't have the ability to do something about the problem. Like the deep sin issues in my heart that I can't, at least it seems like I can't change. The things that are the hardest things to exercise from my life and existence, I need God's help there. Or I think I do. And maybe God already says, no, Paul, I already gave you what you need. You just need to come to a point where is realization really enough? Or utilization, where you're using it. Use the power that I already gave you. I don't know, but I will find out. And as soon as I know, I will tell you. That's the point of the study, is it's not about book learning, though we do learn from the book. It is about, like I said, I've said this on a number of occasions, the most important knowledge is the knowledge that I can gain from God, how to walk an upright life, how to walk according to his will. If I can walk according to his will, if I know how to do that, that is precious knowledge. I don't knowledge of facts and figures is great, but I want knowledge how to get into the machine and to take it apart and put it together again. I want to have the ability or the knowledge. I want to be able to do backflips. What I mean is it's something that you have to know how to do. You know what I mean? You can't just, as a rare person who's just going to be backflip. So what, you flip backwards? Oh, let me try. Whoop. I just did it. Wow. I'm amazing. I didn't know I had it in me. But that's not how it works. I tried to learn to do backflips in high school. I'm a little tall for it, Being almost 6'3" is not a good height to attempt, gymnastics is, you're better served as a smaller person, though when big guys do it, it's fun. I think it's funny when a big guy does something that should be smaller person do. It's amusing. Like a giant man on a small bicycle. There's something funny about that. That's why the clowns use that sort of a thing. It's the mismatch. And I always want, the comedian, I forgot his name, John Belushi, he used to do backflips. He's a fat guy, and it was funny because he didn't look like the type of person who would be able to do backflips. So it was surprising. And therefore, humorous. Well, to learn to do those things, I'm guessing he had to practice, and so do I. And it's not something I just know. There are very few things like that. Well, there are a lot. Actually, there are. Well, let's just say the embedded knowledge. I don't know that the embedded knowledge I have is stuff that necessarily like, oh, I had it from birth. A lot of it, the potential was there, but you build it up through your experiences and through the learning you go through. All right, so we have another 15 minutes. We can definitely start on this Psalm 32. A Psalm of David, Maschil, or Maschil. Now, of course, Maschil means to kill a lot of people. And Maschil means for a lot of people to chill out. I'm just kidding. I couldn't. I forgot what Maschil means, or Maschil. It's probably Maschil. I don't know that every CH translated from Hebrew has that sound. I mean, I studied it. It's not just a joke. Jews don't just talk like that. That is a letter in their alphabet. That's the, it's a like Hanukkah. I might be exaggerating. I might not be doing it right, but it's something like that. It's got a little, ka and ka. If I'm doing more like that, like Hanukkah. I don't know. Anyways, Maschil. How's the internet? Here we are. Oh, we need to go to the next psalm. Psalm 32. Maschil. Apparently pronounced Maschil. I should have known that because the I's are usually long I's. Well, not long I's, they're actually long E's. In most foreign languages, it's like that. Like in Italian, the I's in my name are supposed to be pronounced E's. Like stringini. Actually, stringini. It's probably the proper way. Stringini. Mr. Stringini, please. Have some linguini. From Maschil, instructive. A didactic poem. Come on, didactic. Well, didactic, what's it mean? I'm like, okay, I know, it's funny because the other day I mentioned the word, what was the word? Mischief. Right? And I for the first time it struck me, there's achieve and mischief. You know what I mean? That's what mischief actually, where the derivative of it was. I never looked it up or anything. I was just walking. I'm like, what was, because I was saying I was thinking in terms of prefix, suffix, and word. Achievement, we know what that is. So that kind of helps us understand what the idea of mischief is. Mischief is, I believe, related. Anyways, didactic. You ever heard of an autodidact? An autodidact is someone who is self-taught. So this word didactic means instructive. An instructive poem. Now let's see if that was right. I always like the part where I subject myself to the risk of being wrong. I bet it's intended to teach, particularly having a moral instruction as an ulterior motive. So this is an instruction. Maschil means instruction. So I think I hit it on the head pretty well. A Psalm of David, Maschil. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven and whose sin is covered. Oh, this is a famous one, right? Blessed is the man unto whom the Lord imputeth not iniquity, and in whose spirit is no guile. That Paul definitely quotes this, right? Blessed is the man. Shall we find out where? Let's find out where. I don't remember exactly where. That's not my skill. Someone might be screaming it at the thing, or maybe you guys wrote in the comments. St. Paul, it's this verse. No or anything. It's okay. It's okay. All right, I shouldn't be on that screen. All right, so I'll look it up in the good old paper Bible with the references. Because one thing the Bible Hub doesn't do a good job of is cross-referencing, which is a pity because it's such a useful tool. Not all cross-references are the same, though. I tell you, sometimes I feel like, how did they come up with this reference? And maybe it's just my own ignorance, you know. Like sometimes, you know, you think something like, how did they do this? But it's just, I'm just not seeing it properly. Okay. I got to lose the glasses because I can't read with my glasses on. And this, let's see, Romans 4, 7 and 8. Yeah, what was Romans 4? Romans 4. I just want to. It was in 2, so that's Psalm 4. I just want to know the context of that. Just not that it's going to. Well, I can maybe make that the whole subject of the last 10 minutes. And maybe I want to. I mean, it's like an important deal. I used to talk about the working of works versus grace. Him that worketh, it is counted of. Here, I'll show you. Sorry, I didn't. I should have switched that over. It's like takes like 5 clicks just to get over to the other screen. And that's mostly because these little windows are not glued. They're locked. But like if I click away in a certain way, I get like, you know, the good old eternity effect, or this one's just showing the window that's under the window. All right. So 7, 8, whatever was it? Even David also describeth the blessedness of the man unto whom God imputeth righteousness without works, saying, Blessed are those whose iniquities are forgiven and whose sins are covered. Blessed is the man to whom the Lord will not impute sin. Then he talks about how it's to Jew and Greek alike. But I want to just dwell on the idea in the psalm here. That's just for your information. You can find that in Romans 4. Impute, you know, like, impute is a real simple word also. Like, compute, impute. You know what I mean? Always look for those common roots, and you get a real quick sense of what it means. It means to reckon or to count. You know? I mean, God counts your sin against you if he imputes the sin to you. You know what I mean? It is to count. I'm not going to try to break down the English. That's not useful. It means to count. You know, let's see what the. I want to get specific actually, so I'm going to just go back and allow myself to be instructed in terms of the Hebrew word here. Here we go to there. Okay. Imputeth is to account. Actually, the root of it means to think. Compute. I said compare it to compute. Impute. To think or account. You know, that's how I say to count. Is in, you know, like he counts it again. In fact, it's if you look at the way it's translated, it's a primitive root. It means to think or account. It means accounting, calculate. It's translated calculate 5 times. Composed, consider, considered. That's from the NAS. And where's Strong's? Oh yeah, this is the word. I remember looking this word up when I was young. It means properly to plait, like to weave, or interpenetrate. You know, that is literally to weave, or generally to fabricate, figuratively, to plot or contrive, usually in a malicious sense, hence from the mental effort to think, regard, value, or compute. Or as it says, impute. It means to count, esteem, and so it has a wide variety of meaning there. But here the meaning is obvious, that God is going to count this against you. He's going to calculate your sin and say like, well, let's see, your iniquity. How much iniquity do you have? Well, this much. Well, that's quite a debt. And that is a debt that we cannot pay. There are iniquities, for my iniquities are gone over my head. They are a heavy burden. They are too heavy for me. Psalm 38. We get into that. My iniquities have just become more than I can bear. And if God counts them against me, woe is me. That's why he says the blessedness is those whose sins are forgiven and covered, because there's nothing else that can be done with them. I can't get rid of my sin. Ultimately, it talks about getting rid of sin, right? Jesus takes away the sins of the world, but only in the sense of imputation. He doesn't remove your actual deeds of the past. It is as if they were not done in the sight of God, because he will not count it against you. You know what I mean? Sin is taken away because of God's grace, because of his mercy. And really for no other reason. That is the reason your sins are taken away, because God has decided to be merciful. Because in all fairness, we don't deserve any mercy. In all fairness, mercy is never deserved. If it was, it wouldn't be mercy. You know what I mean? And just like Paul talks about in Romans 4, if the thing done was deserved, then it is reckoned by works. You deserved it. You deserve eternal life. You've been a good man. You deserve it. And so you get it. That's by works. That's payment for a job well done. But we don't have that available to us, because our sins are too numerous. They must be covered. And throughout history, God has made ways in which, he always has the option of mercy. But in the Old Testament, God can forgive us on any basis. He doesn't need the blood of a goat. He doesn't need the blood of Jesus. He doesn't need it to forgive us. He has ordained it as the way by which we shall be saved and be forgiven. But it's not that it's necessary. Meaning, things are only necessary in as much as God says they are needful. Meaning, he is the creator, the ultimate arbiter. There is no ultimate law or standard or anything that governs him and dictates what he must do. What God does, if something must be done a certain way, it is because that is how God has ordained it to be done. If he is constrained, he has constrained himself by his own will. There's no force of nature or the universe that compels God to be a certain way. Some people talk as if that's the case. As if God has to do things because of circumstances. God loves you and he doesn't want to torture you forever, but he has to, because there are rules that are beyond his control. If you sin against him, he's holy, and they don't say it's beyond his control, but that's the implication. The implication is that God would very much like it not to be the case, but this is the case. It's it's beyond it. He has the ultimate authority, the ultimate discretion. God has ultimate discretion. I understand when I make my small business loan application and they give me, and they basically just run me through the gears of the machinery and spit me out like an old wad of gum. Useless to them. When I just get run through the machinery and ground up in the gears. I use that. Being ground up in the gears of systematic failure. Meaning the system is broken. I don't mean the American system like all men are created equal, and are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights. I mean, things like the Small Business Administration. You know, they've got an email. They don't even know how to run a proper email system over there. But like when I got my when they gave me my letter that told me, hey, you are genuinely and truly going to be I wanted to use a profane word there, you know. I'm trying to think of what the proper non-profane word would be. It's hard for me to come up with one. I don't want to be that specific. I just want to be general. You are, you have been processed. I like that. You have been processed, and we're done with you. And you come out all crushed. Because the systems. I hate systems. I do. Because if I feel like I could just speak to a human and say, oh, this mistake was made, because they made a mistake. They can't run an email system, and I get chewed up in their incompetence. Which is kind of delightful in a way, because it's to me that's more, I can accept that. I can accept that. It's easier for me to accept than me doing it to myself. Chewed up in their incompetence. Well, my point is systems don't care. They don't care about you. Systems don't care. They just do what they do. It's not, I kind of want to attribute malice to it, because I'm like, is this political? Am I being discriminated against because of my political beliefs? Because of what I do? Because I'm a religious person? It's not hard to investigate Paul Strangini and figure out what I'm about. And recently, people were investigating me. And I wonder, did my application get flubbed in such a weird, because I have impeccable tax returns. I have impeccable documentation. I keep perfect records. So it's like, and no one even suggested there was anything wrong with my records. It was just, I don't know, it was really strange. But you think if you could get through to a human being with compassion and say like, hey, I'm having a problem here. This is, I'm being harmed by the system. It's, that mercy would intervene. God isn't running a system, thank God. He is judging the world. Him personally, from his throne. He looks at that's a great comfort of the white throne judgment. He gets the books out, and personally, just so you know, you get with God, you get the personal treatment. He looks into your life personally. And when he does, you know what he's looking for? A justification to show you mercy. At least right now, it's like, I don't have to by the time you get to the great white throne judgment, I'm assuming that a lot of the cases for mercy have been weeded out. I like to think of it that way. I don't like to think of someone as worthy as I am of mercy, not getting mercy. But then again, I wasn't worthy to get mercy in the first place. But why does he say this? In whose spirit there is no guile. It goes to something I talk about, and we'll close with this. That when I first met my wife, one of the things that that attracted her to my study was the seriousness and sincerity with which I approached the subject from the beginning. I've always been very serious about it. I haven't always been right. I haven't always been, the best. I'm trying to think about I'm sometimes a crude and rude person. There's plenty of negative things to say about me personally, but when we talk about people failing to obtain the kingdom, like the man who goes in without a wedding garment on, you know what I mean? it's like, it's akin to this. Like, there's some people, like I said, it's like, I don't know, like, how it can be that you see in the book of Revelation, all the churches falling away. And I'm just like, is all their faith fake? Are they all just nominal Christians with no real substance to their belief? And, the truth is, I don't know a lot of Christians with real substance to their belief. A lot of people, it is minimal. And I think they'd probably be all right if they had proper instruction, because you don't have to be a scholar or anything. But, we should have we need to be fed the things that teach us the right things we need to know so that we can live and be pleasing to God and enter into his kingdom. And I know that whatever the churches are teaching, you can tell because it comes up in popular culture as to what they think we believe. And even if it isn't what I believe, it's what general populations believe Christians believe. So when Bart Simpson says, I was planning on just, living a sinful life until the last minute and then confess on my deathbed and go to heaven with the loophole, that joke, it's a joke, but also it's a reflection of the common perception of what Christian belief means. They think that it doesn't matter if you have a spirit full of guile. You can deal with God guilefully. You know why? Because it's a system. You just have to confess with your lips and believe in your heart, whatever that means, and you're saved. You know what I mean? Like there's this idea that God can be trifled with because, like a system, like I'm trying to deal with the Small Business Administration and getting screwed. But there are other people dealing with the Small Business Administration who are trying to rip it off. The reason I'm getting screwed is because the rip-off people has caused them to be very, aggressive at rejecting your applications. Even when you ask for I asked for a reconsideration with the reconsideration team. A day later, they just sent me a letter saying, you were declined for the same reason you were declined from the beginning. And I could tell, nobody even looked at my situation. Nobody looked at it at all. Because I didn't do anything wrong. Their system failed me. Their system rejected I got all the receipts. And I'm going to publish them because it ought to come out. It's probably not just me. It's probably a lot of really small businesses are being hurt by the very people who are supposed to be helping them. And it's my responsibility to make people feel that. And I will delight in doing that because I see a path forward there. Anyways, so that's where we'll leave off. We'll talk about this a little more on Monday. We just kind of touched on it here, had some thoughts on it. Let's just close. Thanks for joining me. And I will return on Monday and look forward to being here to study then.
Make a joyful sound unto Yahweh, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness. Come before his presence with singing. Know ye that Yahweh, he is God. He hath made us and not we ourselves. We are his people, the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful to him. Bless his name, for Yahweh is good. His mercy eternal, his truth to all generations.